Hi everyone, welcome to the Casual Watch Talk Sunday Social. I have a full house today because we are going to be talking all about watch content, so the best YouTube channels, websites, and resources for everything watches. So I filled the entire panel with YouTubers. So who's better to talk about how good YouTubers are than YouTubers? But anyway, before we dive in, we'll do a wristwatch check. Pete, do you wanna kick us off? Oh, you're on mute.
Check, everyone can hear me. I had to do a last minute mic check. And okay, so what am I wearing? I am wearing. Is that going to come up? Yeah. Ulysse Torpillia rose gold. So see if you can get in there.
Oh yeah. Oh, that looks cool.
So yes, that. A watch I never, ever thought I would own. Way more expensive than any watch I ever thought I would buy. But then through a friend and an AD that's lost its UN, its ability to sell UN, and therefore has found itself sitting on a ton of stock it's not allowed to advertise. I got it at a remarkable discount.
Oh wow, that was a pretty good find then. So if anybody's in Melbourne and they want to get a cheap UN, they can look you up.
They are flying out the door because the AD cannot advertise them. Not allowed to put them on their website. Not allowed to advertise them anywhere as their product. So what they're doing is reaching out through a couple of, if you like, friends of the AD, and they're selling them via Facebook groups and all sorts of other things.
Oh, awesome. That's great. Dave, you're up next. What are you wearing?
I have my Arnold & Son Perpetual Moon.
Oh, beautiful.
Today.
Wow.
Cool.
Awesome.
I can't help but feel. I think we should hear more about Arnold & Son.
Yes, agreed. They are part of the Citizen Group now. They're owned ultimately by them, although they've been left pretty much on their own to do their own thing. So they're carrying on. But obviously, historically, John Arnold's got a fair amount of things to say back in the day about what happened and where we're at now. So yes, I agree. They're a brand that should get more attention, but they're still pretty small, to be fair. And unfortunately, they're neither cheap neither, so which that usually puts them out of people's reach. But yeah, it's a nice brand.
And being part of the Citizen Group, it's actually against the law for them to market.
100%. Don't do anything that might sell watches. Never, ever.
That's right.
Never do that. And if you think it will sell, make it Japanese market only.
Lucy, thank you for joining us. I think you're on mute there, but what are you wearing?
Hello. Yeah, that's just a habit from work, that is. Muting yourself before you're up. Sorry about the grainy video, but today I have my Grand Seiko Cherry Blossom, my Shunbun. It's probably the watch that I'm most well known for, so had to be done today.
Yeah, very nice. I recently came back we went to Japan 3 weeks ago, and I'm obsessed with Grand Seiko now. So.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, saw how they were made. Well, I didn't see how they were made, but the museum was pretty cool. Ben, thank you for joining us. What are you wearing?
No problem, Sam. Well, oh my goodness, this isn't the one I was wanting to wear. What? The Daniel Wellington iconic Link Automatic?
Wow.
Wait, one sec. That's where that belongs. Now we're talking now, guys. Look at this luxury. Who needs the iconic Link when you've got the Scametti icon? I'm sorry, but this blows all yours out the water.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, some people are saying it's the watch brand of the year. Well, I mean, you're saying that, but
absolutely. I have heard rumors that every other watch brand is about to shut their doors, but it's just rumors, Sam. It's just rumors, isn't it?
Just rumors. Yeah, authentic Italian design.
I love that feeling of that wrist, that beautiful breaking strap. Oh my goodness! Ow. Sorry, carry on.
Well, more about that later on that bombshell. Patrick, what are you wearing?
Man, that is a hard one to follow, but it's been a couple weekends since I've been here. I've been working a lot of weekends, and I don't think I've shown off a new watch of mine. And this is a pretty special little piece that actually deserves to come off the wrist. Ooh. So this is a Crador Platinum Spring Drive, and it's actually the first Crador that was ever released commercially, and it comes with an absolutely gorgeous Crador hand-wound movement. And I've been searching the world for one of these for several years until one popped up, and I said, "Thank you." So, just a fun little piece to add to the collection.
Are you the biggest Crador collector in the whole of the US?
Maybe, but the bad news, which just gets back to the world of Cradors, Crador just doesn't know what to do themselves these days. So I'm the biggest vintage Crador collector, because anything built after 1999 pretty much is a garbage pile. So except for their like rare super machines that nobody can buy. But so as I said, the good news for Crador and bad news for Crador for me is I don't think there's any more I want. So there were 3 that I targeted, and I found all 3.
Wow. Awesome.
As an American, Patrick's probably automatically the biggest Crador collector in the world.
The world's greatest Crador collector.
Oh no, I'll just stick with biggest.
And then I will do my wristwatch check, which I guess is also a proof of life. So I haven't sold my Datejust. It is still here. I'll bring it out once every couple of months just to prove that I've not sold it. So yeah, mint green dial 41 Datejust. Beautiful. Right. Okay. Well, enough about that. Let's look at some of the picks that we've picked, and also let us know in the comments as well if there's any that we missed that you like. I am going to start. I put Hodinkee up here because actually nobody on the panel picked it, and I thought that was unfair. So I'm at least going to show this cutting edge journalism where they've paired the new G-Shock with a paintbrush there. I'm going to start from you, Patrick. So your first one was the Watch Aficionado.
Well, I took a little bit of a different take, and I guess that's probably words you'll hear me say throughout my entire life. And I picked really, really small timers who I enjoy. And so the Watch Aficionado, he's actually got a podcast, and I didn't even know he had a store until I found the link for you, Sam, because I really only know of his podcast. But he owns a jewelry store down in the Miami area, and he just likes watches. And he usually picks up a couple people and, has a podcast on all of your normal podcasts. I listen on Apple Podcasts, just like the Scottish Watch Podcast, of course. And, I said he's just fun. He's got a great voice. He's just entertaining to listen to. And you can really tell he just actually likes watches. He doesn't just sell them, he actually likes them. And, I said it's just a refreshing listen. So, and he goes on every topic from, one time he even had a podcast on pocket watches. And, I said I just thought it was really interesting. And, he doesn't do it often. I think maybe he releases one a month, and, kind of when he has time, it seems. But, I give him a listen sometime. I said he's a pretty fun listen, and you might learn a little something or just have a good time listening.
Has anyone else heard of this? I've never heard of this one. No?
Nope.
Oh, well, okay. On that bombshell then. Well, there's a new one for everyone because I hadn't heard of that one either. Next up then, Dave, we'll go with yours. You picked Jody.
I did. He's just he's one of the few who's pretty genuine in all aspects in terms of he just shoots from the hip. And I like the fact that he doesn't focus on anything luxury, if you want to call it that. Yes, the odd piece he'll maybe talk about, but he talks about, I guess, watches that are broadly accessible for everybody, whether you can buy expensive, don't buy expensive, can't buy expensive, whatever. And he's got a really nice way about him. That's probably a Scotsman, but I'm going to call him Australian because he's been there more than he's been here, so he's definitely now Australian. But he's a nice guy that does it well, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I definitely don't agree with some of his homage picks, but that's just because I'm not a bad fan of homage watches. But his quality now is awesome, isn't it? And his thumbnails,
Yeah.
and iconic.
Oh no.
Intros.
Yeah, I mean, by no means do I agree with either always his opinion or something or what he likes or whatever, but that's not the point. It's like everyone likes different things, but his kind of production quality is really good, and he consistently puts out content. You can rely on it coming out, which is part of the trick. I think, some of these podcasts that come out as and when, the problem is you sometimes bypass them because you just don't realise what's come out. But yeah, I think he's one of the better ones out there.
Awesome. Okay, so Pete, you're up next, and I've never heard of this. This is the fourth wheel, which sounds like when you go on a double date and that you don't like the fourth person, but what's this all about?
That's what I thought too. Okay, so this is a Substack newsletter by a guy whose name has just flown out of my mind, Chris Hall, I think.
Yep.
He's a watch journalist, journalist by trade. Also he's in charge of the editorial side at Mr. Porter, I think. But he runs this Substack newsletter on the side. Comes out weekly. And it's I like it because it's a great combination of, it's a guy who really knows his stuff. He really knows deep inside the industry, but at the same time, he's quite happy to sort of have a little bit of fun with it. He's happy to zoom out and talk more generally about what's going on in the world. And I just really like his stuff.
Cool. Substack, I hadn't heard of this until about 3 weeks ago, and it's going to be one of those things where everybody's talking about Substack, aren't they? So what is it, just a blogging platform?
Essentially, yeah, that's the best way to think about it. It's a blogging platform that has been set up to monetize. So it's really easy to put up your weekly blog. It's also really easy to monetize it, get subscribers, all that sort of thing. So that's essentially it.
Okay, and so how do they monetize it, with advertising, or do you have to pay for like a premium?
Yes, firewall content.
It's mostly firewall stuff.
Okay.
Think of it as a digital magazine, basically, is the best way to think of it. Like if you want the content, you pay for it in the same way as if you buy a magazine. The good thing is with that one, for sure, I agree, Pete, he is a professional journalist. He's actually trained as a journalist, and he's got a degree of kind of critical thinking about him. He's not just a regurgitate a press release and bosh it out. So a lot of folk probably initially will think I'm not paying for that because they expect to get the same as everything else. But actually, he's got some quite in-depth, quite interesting articles that he does research properly. So it's well worth it.
Oh, awesome. Great pick. Okay, next I'm going to go to you, Ben, and you picked 24 Hours at a Time. I've not heard of this one.
Yeah, this is a channel I've been following for quite a while, to be honest. I think it's fairly underrated. The gent who runs it just has a really nice means of delivery, isn't afraid to call out stuff that he doesn't agree with, seems to put across his honest opinion in all the videos. There's a lot of channels kind of, I think they feel a bit kind of afraid to say what they want about stuff. This guy definitely isn't that, which is, as you can imagine, for me, something that I kind of like just generally. I like people roasting stuff. So I just think it's one that people should check out. I enjoy even his accent from time to time. I think he's from somewhere in Scandinavia, if I'm not mistaken. Just a very nice, soothing accent to listen to. So that always helps.
Yeah, I've not. Has anybody else heard of this channel?
Yeah, it's got the guy with the little Frenchie that routinely turns up on his doorstep.
I've seen the thumbnail. I don't know if I've ever watched an episode, but I'll check it out.
Yeah, and I agree with everything Ben said. He's very soothing, very easy to listen to. He should do IKEA ads, or he should help you. They should get him to voice over how to put together the Billy bookcase. There would be far less stress in the world.
And as a former member of the in-house customer services team at IKEA, Ashton, I can confirm that people get extremely passionate about flatpack furniture. So maybe some how-to videos would have been Although I don't think there was even YouTube back then. Okay, so Lucy, I'm going to dive to you next, and your first one is Brit, formerly Watch Gringa.
Yeah, Brit. So there's not a lot of women in the industry. There's certainly not a lot of female YouTubers out there, and we are actually now like personal friends. But before that, I just enjoyed her content anyway. It's not too serious, you know. There's a lot of seriousness in the watch industry, and sometimes you just want to get a little bit of information, but also to have a little bit of fun with what you're listening to. And I don't often want to feel like I'm being lectured with loads of specs, and, you know, it's kind of a bit overwhelming on, you know, sometimes. And this, you can get enough information, but it's also that entertainment value as well. And yeah, she's just a really nice, down-to-earth person, which is always a helpful thing.
Yeah, I know there's one member of the panel who's also a big fan. So Pete, I'll go to you next.
Yeah. I had a great cull of my personal YouTube watching the channels. Brit was one of the few that survived, and in many ways, I'd agree with everything you just said, Lucy. And in a sense, one of the things I like about her is I don't watch reviews, so I'm not particularly interested in watch reviews. But probably about 1 every 3, she zooms out and says, "Let's talk about bigger issues around collecting or around the industry." And she does it with a bit of spark and she always researches them, so they come across as off the hip, but she's clearly done a fair bit of work behind it. And yeah. I just love that. I tend not to like consuming media that makes me feel like I'm dumber after I watched it. And so I just enjoy watching her.
Yeah,
she does work really hard, and she does research everything. And I think she's got a degree in like theology or something. So she's actually a smart cookie.
Yeah, and the couple of things I like about her is you can have that sort of, you know, laid back presentation style, but the photography, which is it her husband that does it, or the filming is on par with some of the best YouTube channels. Incredible, like watch photography.
It's mostly her now.
Oh wow, you're doing an amazing job. It looks, it looks awesome. And then she had a bit of a bad sort of 12 months, hadn't she? They had that watch that was stolen, and she got in that really bad accident. And I mean, it was. So I'm glad that she's kind of back on form now. Which is awesome. Yeah, I like watching her as well. So that was a great pick. Awesome. Okay, and then it's me next. There we go. I picked. Oh yeah, here you go. I picked the first Instagram here. This Instagram is awesome. Does anybody else subscribe to this Watches of Espionage?
Yeah, it's a good channel.
No.
Yeah, it's awesome. So this guy is former CIA officer, and he essentially set up this Instagram channel to, at the start, he was just talking about military or like key military figures, spies and things like that, and what watches they wore while they were doing their, while they were. So here you've got like Prigozhin there, it's got these guys in the Gulf War, these like first Navy SEALs that had Rolex Submariners on, and he does these great write-ups as well. He actually is now branched out and does a newsletter. So these stories are now in newsletter form, but it's fascinating. He's also making watch straps and stuff like that now, but yeah, just fascinating. Not only the actual awesome photos, but the history. I mean, each one is a full, he does a full write-up on it, and it's really cool, especially if you like military watches or that, or watches that spies might have wore. It's really, really, really interesting. He does a fantastic job of it. So I highly recommend that Instagram, and then also the newsletter as well. And he's also got a website as well that he puts it all on. So nobody else has heard of this? No.
I heard of it. I just not engaged. It hasn't quite punched through, and I haven't wanted to read it too much of it. But then I don't read biographies, and I don't read stuff like that. So maybe it's because I just don't like people.
Okay, well, there you go. Yeah, I like it because I started getting into watches, I think, through liking military watches. So still, still very interesting. Patrick, we are back. Yeah, sorry.
I was going to say I've just started following it. I like history of watches, so I think I'll enjoy that one.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Patrick, everyday watch.
I'm going to say I'm trying to remember which ones I chose, but okay, everyday watch guy.
Your favorite YouTube channel? You've forgotten.
Yeah, once again, I just picked somebody who isn't one of the big channels because I feel like we all know the big channels. I mean, I watch just about everybody because I drive a lot. And when I drive, I just put it on in the background. But, this is a guy named Torin. He's in Canada, and he likes to hike, and he likes to take his watches while he's hiking. And similarly, he just kind of tells a fun story about watches. His voice is a little slow, so, you might need to pick up the pace a little bit. He might put you to sleep behind the wheel just because his cadence is, not maybe high pep. But, once again, he's just got a lot of heart, and you can really tell that, he likes what he's talking about. And, for that reason, as I said, whenever I just kind of sense, someone's kind of a good person, I just enjoy them more. And, I said, I definitely know he's a good person. And, he makes pretty regular videos. So, he's got a lot of content. I don't know if I've ever actually looked down his list, but Sam, you just did. And I'm like, man, he's got a lot of videos. So, good for him.
257. That's no joke, is it?
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be climbing. I've never heard of this channel before. Has anybody else other than Patrick?
Yes, only because like a lot of YouTubers, they turn up on other people's streams. So he does a lot of stuff with Sanjay, Engineer Wannabe, if you know him at all. So it's funny. The YouTube world has these little circles of friends, and that's like his little circle. That's where he tends to be. So yeah, I'd heard of him and seen him through that.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I know Engineer Wannabe through Bobby Legs.
Exactly.
Yeah, the circle.
Which then takes you to Armin, which then takes you sort of.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's another one that I'll definitely be subscribed to. Dave, this. I think this is a left field pick.
He is truly awful. Like awful human being.
No,
I mean,
it's
literally this channel. Yeah, like. I find myself occasionally watching them. I think I watch them because it makes me understand that no matter how much money you get, you can't buy class, taste, or anything of any worth. It's so bad it almost gets good. It's like some kind of addictive form of reality television. Like you watch this guy who looks like he's fallen out of a combination of the 1920s, the 1960s, the 1970s, and the 1980s all put together. The guy's just truly awful, but it's amazingly funny to watch it. Don't listen to it and don't put any basis on anything he says because it's just nonsense. But it's so bad, it's good.
I think I always liked it when he first started. I actually reached out to him and asked whether we could do a collab, and we nearly arranged it because it was back when I lived in California, and I worked out roughly where he lived, and he only lived an hour away, even though he was up in the sort of the Hollywood. I think he's in like West Hollywood or something. So we're actually going to try and meet him up. I liked his I liked his stuff. His camera guy, who's I think is his friend, it took him a while to get used to like using a camera. I think because some of the filming was all over the place. But yeah he's famous for. He knows like Jacob from Jacob and Co. That I think they're friends, so he always does like that crazy stuff. He's got that Titanic watch that's got a piece of the Titanic as the bezel.
He's got so much money that he can buy whatever he wants, but any form of taste disappeared with the wealth because he chooses the most expensive but truly horrific watches you can possibly imagine. But it's just like I don't even know what to say.
I tell you what, another good thing, a good thing with this is that if you, he does a lot of content, not just on watches, but on luxury products. So this is how I learned about the Birkin bag and Hermes Birkin bag and stuff, because he's obsessed with it, isn't he? So you can look like quite the, you look a bit like James Bond knowing loads about luxury products, but you knew it from producer Michael. So,
well, I have to agree. His watch episodes are great to watch just for the hilarity of it, because he'll usually pick up his co-person, whoever it is, and he'll be like, "Look at this watch. Don't you think it's beautiful?" And I mean, it's the most god-awful creation ever. And, and they're all just saying how much they love it. However, I will say, I accidentally must have turned on like the play next, and they played one of his like real estate ones. It was disturbing to watch because he had women in there wearing things that they shouldn't wear, and he just looked like a dirty old man. And watch content, yes. Real estate content, no.
Yeah, he's just in a whole different sphere.
Yeah, I remember he's got like this Jacob, I think it's a Jacob & Co. watch, but you basically open the box and the box is on like a slow, like it slowly opens and there's like a little TV screen in there and it plays like a video, like an advert for the watch, and the watch is also in the box, which is the
only thing that is funny is he is like a kid in a sweet shop, though. You do actually think he's genuinely quite excited sometimes about things, which is quite cute in a way, but you're just like, man, if I had even a tenth of the money he had, the damage I could do to the world compared to him would be so... it would be instrumental. There'd be a lot less people, so me and Pete would be happy.
Oh, yeah.
Dave, you would buy nice watches. That's what's so nice. It'd be so nice.
No, I'm a fan. He's like a guilty pleasure for me. It's does anybody else like this or watch the channel?
I tried to watch once, but nearly poked my eyes out with a spoon, so not again.
It's cathartic, Pete. Just do it. It's good. It stops you. It stops you actually enacting on your desires and thoughts when you get into the real world. It's great.
It's like when you've got a toothache, but you can't help but press against it.
That's the one. That's it. Yep.
Awesome. Well, before, sorry, I'll just click that off. Remove that one. Before we go on, Muhammad Ali, thank you very much for the very generous super chat. Do I have to give it to Patrick?
I'll let you keep it, Sam.
Yes, you can have that. Pocket Watch Time. I'll put everyone who's on the channel, all of their YouTube channels are in the description down below, and we'll do a little plug at the end, of course, for everyone that's joined us. But Muhammad Ali, thank you very much for the very generous super chat.
Thanks, Mo.
Okay, so next up was Pete, and is this another Substack, Pete?
I think so. No, that's a magazine.
Oh,
so that's an actual magazine that also runs a website.
Okay.
It's probably 2/3 of its content is behind a firewall, so you do have to pay, or behind a paywall, so you do have to pay for it, which I do for two reasons. It's a classic old-timey magazine, lots and lots and lots of like advertorials and that sort of thing to make the revenue, but at the same time that pays for some much longer form interviews with people that you wouldn't normally expect to have an interview with. Like a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, don't know if it was this issue or the last issue, they actually had an interview with Tudor's head designer, the guy who designed the Black Bay and all that sort of thing. And they'll do like longer form. This one, a look into UK watchmaking, and a 1.5-page interview with a whole, but on 1.5 pages each on a whole bunch of like brands and things that you might not have otherwise heard of. So I'm a big fan of, if you value something, be prepared to pay for it. So I'm happy to pay to get behind their paywall. The other massive benefit, if you are a subscriber, is you have totally free access to nearly 100 years of their archives. So you can go back to this magazine they've digitized. You can go back in time and look at, what was in the magazine at the 1953 Basel World when Rolex issued the Submariner. And what's really interesting is, like, we think of that as some seminal moment, but you read the articles at the time, it was, and Rolex put out this odd kind of scuba watch. Not sure who's going to buy it. Move on. It's really fun being able to go back and sort of look at what people were saying about what we think are great watches now back then.
Yeah, I love looking at those old advertising things. I forget which one I was reading. It was the first Baselworld, and one of the biggest stands there was Invicta or something.
Yeah.
They were the original Invicta. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah.
I saw a picture once of like in the way back, the very, very early days of Baselworld, and you had sort of Blancpain and I think it was Breguet or someone, and they were separated by a sausage stand.
They were the food. Well, but I do a lot of exhibitions, and you always want to be near the food. Awesome. I can't believe I've not heard of this. Dave, you've heard of this before, but has anyone else?
Yeah, they're one of the biggest continental European magazines. To be honest, they're huge in Europe.
Wow. Because I've never seen the magazine or even heard of this website, but that's awesome. Oh, well, okay. Well, that's another great one. I mean, we're picking some winners here. Ben, you are up next, and this is a YouTube channel, and this is The Watch Movement.
Yeah, this channel, I don't know, just really catchy, punchy editing. Comes at things from a bit of a different angle. Just you can tell he's just trying to be helpful and trying to stop people from getting hosed or scammed. I just like the channel. I think he's not uploaded for quite a while, at least regular videos, which is a shame. So I hope he'll return to the channel at some point. But yeah, just pretty funny. He kind of scripts his videos like me, but he's definitely a lot funnier than me. So that's something to pay attention to, I reckon, if you're after just a fun channel to watch now and then.
Oh, you're being very modest. Your content's hilarious. Anybody else heard of this?
No.
Nope.
That's awesome, isn't it? Yeah, these are absolute winners here. We're getting a load of picks that nobody's seen. Okay, Lucy, you're up next, and this is Oracle Time.
Yeah, I mean, this is just one of a couple. I suppose it's similar to sort of the last media. There's a couple of different outlets like this, but you get a lot of new information from it. You can also do a subscription service. I am old school in the fact that I do like a good book and a proper magazine that I can hold, that I can see the pictures of. You know, I don't really like that many audiobooks, so I prefer an actual physical book. So you can actually subscribe to this, and they'll send you out a book, a magazine. And also, as with, I can't remember whose other one mentioned it, but you can also view past articles as well for this one. To me, it's a really good, really quick, really easy source of new information. And sometimes when I'm sort of in between work and doing, X, Y, and Z in personal time, you just want that quick bit of information, quick bit of, watch information, I guess. That little hit. And this is a good source of it. I just really enjoy it. It's easy going. Yeah, has anyone ever heard of it?
I've heard the name, but I don't think Has anybody else?
Yeah,
very British centric.
Right.
I've heard the name, but nothing more.
Yeah. It's like they're a print magazine that you can't buy it in the shops, but you have to subscribe and they'll post it to you, and the website kind of backs up that. But it's very geared towards the UK.
Yeah. So this, I actually got a sneak peek of this Fears watch before it was embargoed, and I messaged Nicholas. And I'm like, "Would you ever do one of these with the date on?" And he was like, "No."
It's a great color, though. I love that.
Not very
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. This is. I feel like I have heard of Oracle Time, but yeah, I don't. This is another great one as well. Another awesome pick there. Well, before we go to my pick, let's see what the audience is saying. So, yeah, somebody's asking whether we've mentioned Archie yet. I don't think we've quite got around to the upper echelons of YouTube quite yet. But thank you for mentioning Archie. Oh yeah, so Sam's saying one of the underrated watch channels is You're Terrific. Evan, who owns the channel, is real funny and honest, and he makes a real good videos.
I hate Evan. Every time I watch his videos, I think that is what it's supposed to look like. That's how it's supposed to be done. I hate you, and I wish you would die.
Pete, I, for once, 100%
Not dramatic.
agree with you.
Not dramatic.
Because
Just die, Evan.
the only video of his that I wasn't able to palate very well was his episode with the tank, because he's got a bigger wrist than even me, and he says he can pull it off. And I'm like, you can't. But other than that, his editing is great. His style is great. You know, he's just a great channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May he burn in hell forever.
So I've not been doing this that long, and there are so many fantastic YouTube channels out there that have the fantastic lighting, the sound, the content, the editing, and everything. And I'm just like, oh my god, how am I going to do this? How am I competing with this?
Yeah, Lucy, the answer is you don't, and you stay at like under 10,000 for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I keep the quality low on my channels, not to offend any of the panel guests.
It's nice to know there's other people that feel the same about other channels as well.
Mm.
So I'm
Well,
good.
it was Adrian. Well, first of all, it was Horology House, but we're not allowed to talk about them anymore. And then it was Adrian at Bark and Jack. He's the one that did the disservice by doing amazing watch photography. Shame on you, Adrian. But setting the bar, and then everybody else had to step up. Then we were all right with our iPhones and 6-year-old cameras. Richard Sims says if you're in the Association of British Clockmakers, you get a hard copy of Europa Star. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you also get Oracle Time as well. So if you pay the whatever it is, I can't remember how much it is these days, £70 a year, something like that. You get
for like 10.
You get a physical copy of both magazines each month, stroke 6 weeks or whatever it is they come out. I think Oracle Time comes out monthly. I think there's 10 episodes, 10 copies a year. And I think actually Europa Star's the same. So to be honest, you make back the joining up fee just in the magazines.
That's a bargain, yeah.
Although 10 is monthly, but not one every month.
Yeah, I think they don't do December. They don't do one in the summer because they're on holiday, something like that.
No, that's a good way. Brassic Time saying Elizabeth Grant YouTube channel is very good. Is she? I don't know if she's still uploading. Is she?
On and off, according to her Instagram. It's very sporadic. She does like boot reviews and stuff as well, doesn't she? I think.
Yeah.
Oh right. Okay. So she's got like another channel.
No, I think she's all on the same channel.
Yeah, they kind of interleave.
Okay. So, okay. Interesting.
Leather boots, leather watch straps.
Awesome. Okay. So, it's me next. I am because this is my show. I'm going to just like shamelessly plug all my friends here. So I'm just FYI. Watch Chris, who is a friend and probably the most prolific YouTuber. He's got a family. He works full time, but he's knocking out like 3 or 4 reviews a week. He must be one of the hardest working YouTubers in terms of volume of content. And they're not all. He again, like with Jody, he does a full gamut of all different types of watches, from high end stuff. He's got like Vacheron in his collection and things like that. But then he'll do the like the Moon Swatch, etc. But yeah, just a really genuinely nice guy. He recently hit over 100K. Just a really, really nice guy. Really super helpful to other YouTubers. He's helped me a lot as well. So a little one of my favorite channels. Watch Chris. Anybody else watch Chris?
That's
Yes,
the one I've heard of.
Yeah, he's really great. He's a really, really nice guy. So little plug for him there. Okay, so we are all the way back round to Patrick. Your last one here is Uptick watch reviews.
So I think I've just recently sort of found this one, and in my usual way, I got to give you some negatives and I got to give you some positives. He has absolutely no filmography. He has no good, camera work. He kind of has an accent that's a little bit hard to understand, and I don't even know what it is because I don't pay attention enough. But what I love about him he finds, and I don't know how he finds them. I don't know if he works for a jewelry store or what, the weirdest watches. So like the episode he just dropped like last week was an annual calendar, Royal Oak. I didn't even know they made it. And so I just like watching his stuff because it'll just be something I've never seen. And kind of, most of the big channels, they're just all about, finding a popular watch so they get the clicks and they get the views. This guy finds some weird, archaic watch that no one's ever heard of and, makes videos and content about it. And I think that's great. So I enjoy him not because they're the greatest videos and not because they're that entertaining, but I get to see watches that I never knew existed. And I like that.
Yeah, that's unfortunately that's the kiss of death for a YouTuber, reviewing a watch that nobody's ever heard of before. As much as would like to archive the future prosperity, unfortunately the algorithms does not appreciate it. Has anybody else heard of this channel?
No.
You did a really big sigh then, Pete. I thought you were about to.
No.
You had a comment or two on it. Okay. So Patrick, that was your last pick. Dave, this is a podcast actually. Is this the right one? GB Talks.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. This one's so GB Talks is George Bamford, who is, I guess, divisive in a way, but he's been doing this for years. Some folk love him, some folk don't love him so much, shall we say. But because of his kind of stature and who he is, he does tend to be able to get access to people, to talk to people about whatever he wants to talk about, which means that you get some episodes that are not great, but there's other episodes that are genuinely quite interesting because he manages to get a hold of people that most other people don't have access to. This is George Bamford, who has Bamford Watchworks, who is the son of the guy that owns JCB, who is one of the richest people in the planet Earth. So the guy has access to people. So it's just, if you scroll through the episodes and choose the ones that you find you might find are interesting, they are actually really good. So he's had some big CEOs. That one's awful. Don't listen to that one. But he's had some really good folk on, so it's well worth it.
Is he still going, Dave? I thought he'd called it quits, or is that just a rumor?
No. I mean, obviously, he along with Adrian and Andy McCutcheon are doing their whole other little thing as well. But I think they put one out this week, didn't they? That Robin Swithenbank. Yeah. There was a gap where I think they were focusing on getting the other thing up and going, but he's back at it. So yeah, it's definitely worth. Some of them are definitely worth listening.
Yeah, I like that about Effing Time. Actually, I think that's a really good sort of play between the three of their personalities. Although I haven't watched one recently, to be honest.
Well, to be honest, season 2 is kind of a stink bomb. So I hope they go back to their season 1 ways, because season 2 they pretty much just said, "Hey, let's go to Geneva Watch Days or whatever it was called, and let's just hang out." And it doesn't have the personality that season 1 had. Season 1 was great, but season 2 I stopped watching because it hurt my ears.
I think the problem is they haven't found their flow yet in terms of what they want to do, because originally the idea was it was going to be a podcast. Then they decided to make it more of a kind of like video bloggy podcasting, YouTube, etc. I don't think they've quite settled on what works yet.
So I've noticed a podcast popping up, and About Effing Time podcast popping up on my stream, but it's all behind a paywall. And I don't know if it's just excerpts of what they're putting on YouTube or if they're doing a completely original thing. So I haven't chased that down. I was hoping maybe you'd know, Dave, but...
Well, this is with About Effing Time.
Yeah.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, they are trying to do it as something that can be monetized and commercialized. That's the idea behind it. And I think at the end of the day, they're just trying to come up with something that works and building more stuff in behind that. If you want extra content, if you want this, you want that, you basically pay to access it. Yeah. As to how well that will work, who knows?
Yeah.
Okay, we are back round to Pete, and this is the Grand Seiko guy.
Oh yeah, so he's actually he's another Substack. So everything I just said about Substack remains true here. He's this guy's just nuts about Grand Seiko. So he does all sorts of things. So he'll do a newsletter one week about a particular Grand Seiko. He goes trawling through eBay and auction listings, calling out good ones, bad ones, examples of redials. I just like the way he does it. 2, I have learnt more about Grand Seiko from this guy than anyone else. And 3, it's just he covers watches that no one else does.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk about Grand Seiko, but they don't sort of really talk about Grand Seiko. This guy really talks about them.
Yeah. Well, I like it already because he's got my ones here. He's got my one at the bottom there.
Yeah, you might want to be careful if you like. There's been the odd comment I've seen from people that have bought watches that they've seen him after they've bought a watch, and it's like, oh, so I bought the fake one, or oh, so I bought that Franken watch you said no one was to buy.
Okay, well, I perhaps won't read about my one on there.
Well, I will definitely second Pete's choice on this one because, as I said, as a weird watch collector, sometimes the Seiko guy or the Grand Seiko guy, he's the only one who has actual information on a weird piece because you Google some of these oddball Cradors and Seikos and, there's no resources. And, he actually has found all of these resources and makes them available. So, as I said, he's great to the Grand Seiko people.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Actually, I'm going to follow that. I need to learn more about. Since I got obsessed with it when I was in Japan, I need to learn a bit more about it. So next up, Ben, who picked a friend of the show, Dave. But go on, Ben. You picked Just the Watch.
In it, the perfect channel, right? You're there struggling to get to sleep at night, and then you just need the soothing words of Dave just to send you nicely off to sleep in the background. And I'm sure his average view duration is nice and high from people like myself. I'll tell you that much. Everyone makes it to the end of the videos. Probably watches about 6 more auto-suggested ones at the end too. But yeah, just, I don't know. Seems like a genuine guy to me. And yeah, I like the way that sometimes he kind of pitches ideas or questions that you maybe hadn't considered before. So yeah,
and he's been on the show a couple of times now, and he's in our little group. He is genuinely like a really nice guy. So he is what you see on there. He definitely does a little bit more of the homage stuff than I personally like, so I don't watch a lot of that type of stuff. But yeah, just great. And his photography is top notch. His filming and stuff. I forget which watch it was, but I've tried to recreate it. But he basically put a watch and he threw like dice on the table in slow motion. It looked awesome. I've tried to do it and never been able to pull it off. But yeah, real awesome. And again, like your channel, Ben, real good resource for the affordable end of watches. So yeah, and he'll film a Casio like it's $1 million watch, which is really cool. But
yeah, I don't know how some of these people are able to like fire out these reviews so quick and they still look better than mine, and I'm just left scratching my head. I spend like 3 times longer on the B-roll and it comes out twice as bad. I don't know. They just have the eye, I guess. They've got the artistic eye.
Oh, I don't know. Yours are doing very well. Your great one was the one where you got all the different crystals and then scratched them with the hardness things. That's like a must watch, I think, for most watch collectors.
Yeah, it's interesting that. Yeah, it turns out that some of them aren't entirely telling the truth. Who would have thought it? People in the marketing department exaggerating. But yeah, that's it's a good channel anyway. I'm sure everyone that's watching this has probably already checked it out before anyway, haven't they?
Yeah, I'm a fan. Yeah. Okay, and then Lucy, your last pick is Jenny L.
Oh, Jenny L. See, when I first got into watches, she was one of the first channels that I started watching. And I learned so much so quickly. Her voice, again, it's the voice, isn't it? Like her voice, I could just listen to her voice all day. She should do like bedtime stories or something. But I know she does a lot of the gaming thing, and she's very good with her editing and her lighting and her photography. So that's always a bonus as well. But I just find her content engaging and not lecturing. And yeah, again, just absolutely love her and her channel. I think she's fantastic. And again, another female. So I was like, oh, there are actually female channels out there. So yeah, she's gone a little bit quiet recently, but she is still posting.
Yeah, when she first uploaded, because I think they had a German language channel, didn't they? But when she first uploaded, I think it was her first video. I watched it and immediately messaged her on Instagram. I'm like, if you want to come on and do like a collab, or I wasn't doing then, but like, yeah, you open invite if you want, because yeah, the content's been fantastic from the start. Again, another great watch photography. Does anybody else watch Jenny L on the regular?
Yeah, I saw her first video or two, and I was sort of really confused. How do you come out of the gate knowing exactly what you're going to do and nailing the filming? And then it was only later I thought, when I found out, they've had a channel, they've built that up, they've had like years of background, and then they've just gone, let's get Jenny to front it because she speaks English better, and let's just keep doing the same thing. It is a great channel. And every now and then she'll do something really weird, but she'll do it really well. An episode I will never, ever forget is the one she did on the UN. It was primarily UN, but there were other brands too, the erotic watches, when she went back through the history of erotic watches and where they came from. It was no other YouTuber would touch it, and she did it beautifully. It's a really good video.
Yeah, this pitch meeting one that she did as well, because I forget the name of the channel. There's a guy that does these pitch meetings, these pretend pitch meetings, and she pulled him off perfectly. She got it, like the timing and everything, just perfect from his because his whole channel is doing pitch meetings for movies, and then she kind of turned it into a pitch meeting for watches, which was really cool. Great, another great channel. Before we dive into my last pick, Sam says the new video version of Scottish Watches is awesome. It is. Great content. Mark P says, Uptick is brilliant, just a genuine Belgian collector out of Hong Kong, all fun for the hobby. And then and then Sam's just thanking Dave for mentioning the GB podcast. He didn't know about it. Awesome. There we go. Okay, and then my final. Oh, actually, I've got a couple more here. So again, pitching my friends Miguel at SoCal Watch Reviews. Again, another great review channel. He should have a lot more subs than he's got, although he's had a big bump recently. Genuine nice guy. We did a collab early on when he started, and it's done well on it was on a Speedmaster Reduced. Great content.
That's a nice video there.
Oh,
look at that second one in there. Scametti Icon. Better than Rolex.
Oh my God, I didn't realise.
That is a fantastic video, that. Subscribe, everyone, subscribe.
I didn't realise he was getting now the absolute top tier brands. I mean, wow. There he is. Look, suit and everything.
What an honour. Look at that.
Look, there you go. Look, there's a warranty card and everything. The what's it? The 30-second warranty now going to become industry standard soon.
God, what a lucky man! What body parts he got?
What did he get? He got
which part of the middleman?
Oh,
look. Is that the foreskin or is that an eyeball?
Awesome. Yeah. Look at that.
That is the look of a luxury timepiece right there. Look at that. Beautiful, fragile-like crystal.
Oh, and the bracelet that will never fit you properly.
That'll be Tinskin 3.0, that, Sam. That new hybrid material.
I mean, again, he was obviously blessed with the chance to review this watch as well.
Brilliant stuff. Yeah, definitely subscribe to him.
Yeah, definitely. I'm already subscribed. That would have been embarrassing if I wasn't. But anyway, and then I'll also and in the interest of getting this done, I also put Federico there as well, because I don't know him personally, but another great content producer, just genuine, really interesting insights in the watch world based on his career of selling watches. Does anybody else watch Federico?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I watch them all the time, even though my budget is like 1/20th of the watches that he features every day.
Yeah,
I mean, care less about luxury.
Yeah, he does it. He has a really good take on things, and he, a really good take on things.
Yeah, I like him because he's one of the. I mean, there's a whole sort of constellation of dealer websites, dealers that do these things, and he's kind of in that group. But he's one who seems to be able to split, or maybe he seems to come across as an actual watch enthusiast as well, and a real watch enthusiast, not a wealth enthusiast. And so I really do like his stuff.
Awesome.
I like that distinction, wealth enthusiast. I like it.
It's good. These are all like merch ideas, and I keep forgetting to write them down. These T-shirts.
Okay, before Sam gets in, wealth enthusiast TM.
So we've got a couple of last stragglers here. So Pete will go with this one, which was this one.
Okay. Nice segue. Okay, so Collected Man is a dealer website. They're a secondhand dealer, whatever word you want to use. Tend to deal with high-end stuff. They run one article a month in their journal area. So it's pretty slow, but they spend, and because I know some of the writers in it, they spend serious money getting good writers to write good articles that are properly researched, and they've got plenty of time. And interestingly, their philosophy is they don't use their editorial to sell a watch. In fact, that's kind of against the rules. A few of the guys who write for them have said that they've had articles pulled or delayed because it turns out that it kind of relates to a watch they're selling right now, and they don't want that link. Right. Instead, what they want is to build a following so that when someone decides, yes, I would like to buy a watch, they go to that site. Sort of see the distinction there. It's about finding customers one day as opposed to flogging off the limited edition they're working with now.
Okay. Yeah. And it's British, is it?
I think so. You know what? Couldn't tell you.
Sort of the phone number is. I'd never heard of this before. The Collected Man. It's great.
Yeah, they're quite well known for the high end pre-owned market, and especially the slightly more left field stuff, as opposed to it's not just your Commodore Guardian, your Rolexes, Pateks. It tends to be a more unusual stuff.
No, that's really cool. Okay, and then the last one before we all do a plug for our own channels. Ben, this is Brodinky. I've not heard this.
This is the world's #1 watch authority right here. I mean, if I'm looking to make a significant purchase, like half my life savings, I just head straight to Brodinky and just go with whatever they've written. To be honest, I mean, look at some of this high quality content. I mean, Hodinkey's got nothing on Brodinky. I'll tell you that much.
I know this is if you ever wanted like a meme, you can. It's like meme after meme. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, this is high quality content. See, you guys, you're going through your super smart people kind of websites and stuff, and then there's me just flying through Brodinky for about 6 hours a night.
I'm there with you alongside Horological Dictionary.
Yep, you need a bit of HD.
Yeah,
I'll have to follow that one.
Is that another meme one?
It makes Brodinky look pretty tame, to be honest. Horological Dictionary is brutal.
Oh, is it? I'll have to look up that one then. Awesome.
And it's dictionary with a K.
Obviously.
Well, before we go, as we've done a YouTube spectacular, we should all definitely, apart from me, everybody else should plug their YouTube channels. So, Lucy, do you want to start just a bit about YouTube channel and then what's it about? And
yeah, I have an Instagram and a YouTube channel. I enjoy watches. I like talking about watches. I am pretty laid back about my reviews, about my comments, about my recommendations. It's just kind of a bit of fun, and I enjoy talking about watches, so why not just put it out there on the internet, I guess. So yeah, you can find me at the Watchbox Diaries. In fact, I've just had a video go live for the Cartier Santos. Ooh. So head over there and check it out. But yeah, I just enjoy talking about watches and reviewing them, and I feel like I've said it a few times, and I'm really sorry, but like, being a female, being a female in this industry, there's a different viewpoint, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to put that out there to, if you want to hear my thoughts and my reviews on it, then head over to my channel.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome quality as well. Like, you came right out the gate. You didn't go through that. I had a difficult 2 years of making garbage, and then
I don't know. I tried starting out with 60-second reviews, and do you know how hard it is trying to put a review into 60 seconds? I found it was very, very difficult. So I'm like, okay, scratch that. We'll do full length ones now.
Yeah, I was chatting to somebody today about doing TikTok shorts, and I was like, I just don't think you can, unless it's like the real glitzy stuff. I'm not sure it's thingy, but
Sam, you're too old to TikTok. Sam, you're way too old to TikTok.
I probably am too old. I'll have to learn some of the dance routines. Maybe
I was going to say that. I think that is what people might pay to see.
Yeah. Ben, go on, give us a little plug. You're very important. How you're changing the watch industry, and also your channel.
Spaghetti Scametti is revolutionizing the watch industry. We are the best watch brand on planet Earth. Rolex has collapsed at our feet. So no, I'll put the script aside 1 second. We just have a lot of fun here on Ben's Watch Club, to be honest. It's nothing particularly serious. By all means, you can go and buy a blackmail bolognese, a pasta ponzi, whatever color you want. This is YouTube merchandise on steroids, essentially. We just figured, instead of people having to only buy stupid hoodies and t-shirts, they can go all out and buy a complete absurd trash quality watch instead. So yeah, people were asking for it, so you've got to give the people what they're asking for, haven't you? So yeah, you can come watch our revolutionary ad campaign. And then why not just give me the money? Why give Rolex the money? Give me the money.
Exactly. I mean, it's a no-brainer, isn't it? And as I said, I was incredibly privileged and also completely insulted to be picked as one of the YouTubers to launch your new watch. So thank you.
No worries, Sam. No worries.
Cool. Okay. Well, and then I think everybody knows Patrick at Pocket Watch Time.
Just in case you don't, I'm an opinionated guy who collects weird watches that no one's ever heard of, and I have a full-time job, so I don't need to make money doing this, which means I can say what I want and I don't have to be apologetic about it. No sugarcoating here.
Well, Pete, you might as well do your plug for your channel. You're not doing it for ages.
Okay, so Pete McConville, I just think about watches and that all the time. I found myself thinking about it a lot as I was doing long bike rides, running this little monologue inside my head. And then one day someone said something ridiculous on YouTube, and I was going to leave a comment, and I thought, screw you. I'll do my own video. So I took the GoPro off the front of my bike. In fact, I think I might have actually sat in front of my bike and just spoke to the GoPro. Some weird folk actually watched my rant, and so I just kept doing it. I don't really talk about watches very much. I don't think I'm not interested in them as products. I have no interest in making you want to buy one, so I don't do product reviews. I tend to talk more broadly about just what's going on in the industry, what's going on in the hobby, ways of thinking about your watch, that sort of stuff. Great way, perfect recipe to stay a tiny channel.
Dave, you might as well pitch Scottish watches. I mean, if anybody doesn't know it, it's a crime. But you have got a new YouTube channel. You're doing video now.
So podcast primarily twice a week, which is somewhat taxing, it has to be said at times, especially when you have to speak to Ricky for hours on end to do it twice a week. Luckily, he does the editing, and he's actually pretty competent at that. So it goes out all the usual YouTube, or not YouTube, all the usual podcast places. But we are now also letting people see the background of the video that goes on, albeit we had to edit that a little bit because maybe we might end up in jail if we didn't. So that now goes out on YouTube a few days after the podcast goes out, and there's all the usual Instagram, Facebook, there's a Facebook group as well, all that, blah, blah, blah. So if you want to hear irreverent nonsense, which is usually factually incorrect and corrected by a young Miziel who works for us in America, then read the show notes if you want the detail, listen if you just want to laugh.
Yeah, and your Instagram's great as well, isn't it? Because Miziel, I think, does the post, doesn't he, on that as well? Right, really good.
He does.
Awesome. Well, thanks to the panel. Thank you, everyone, for being so active in the comment section. And we'll see you next time on Casual Watch Talk. Thanks, everyone.